so there are different places. Like that's part of what he explained about the pyramids. That's so
Hmm.
the pyramids are for that too. They don't work now, but they used to work. And there's other places that are under the seas too. Like I got they're like pyramids under the seas and like little like holes and stuff like that. Just ancient civilizations that are they're all
What?
under there, and all the ancient civilizations back when, way back when, used to
Hmm.
know about the energy of the planet, used to work with the energy of the planet.
For some reason, I want to cry.
It made me cry.
Oh wow. Wow. Sorry. I don't even know why I'm crying. Oh God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, David. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh wow. Sorry. I get close during some, but I don't know why I'm crying right now. I'm just very empathic, and you cried a little bit, and I started a little bit, and now I'm like really in it. Oh
You
wow.
have one of
Okay.
the best.
One of the absolute best NDEs I have ever heard. Like
Thank
I
you.
get the feelings I get, and I without going into it because a lot of my people who watch my videos know this already, but I researched thousands of NDEs at this point. And yours has so many elements that I've heard before. Like there's just no question that it is a real legitimate experience. And it's so beautiful to me because it's it's beautiful to me because it sounds like there are people who have this life experience where it's quote unquote more negative, right? And for whatever reason is more negative. And especially taking drugs, like it's a lot of times the people who would have been exactly in your shoes at 19 or however old you were, and they would have had a hellish NDE. It would not have been this beautiful, fantastic, like it just would not have been that.
Right.
Um, but it sounds like for you, I mean, just you this many years later, still kind of coming to tears that you didn't need that. You didn't need that. You weren't that far gone. You did you what you got is what you needed, and what
Yeah.
helped you, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And after I did not do stupid stuff after.
Yeah.
I lost all those friends. I stopped hanging around a lot of them. And then when I
Mm.
got married, my ex got rid of the rest of them. So I stopped hanging around with them and stopped doing stupid things and I just tried to live a normal life.
Yes, yes,
So
beautiful. Okay, so I'll go to the beginning now. Like I said, this is the first for me to be crying during an NDE, so I had to get myself back together. Okay, so I made notes. So the first note I made, well, for starters, I lived for a short time. I worked with Ford, so I lived near Detroit, so I kind of know how things could be there. Like there's certain places you live, and you're just going to be surrounded by problems, and it's
yeah,
easy to fall
yeah,
into it. Easy. I'm from the Bronx originally, so you can imagine.
yeah.
So you seeing the fairies and the gnomes, like I got so excited. Thank God I muted myself because I was ready to start screaming. That is everything. You don't hear too many NDEs where people are able to see these type beings, but you do hear them. And it's just amazing that so many of the legends and the myths that we have created are based in reality. It's off the charts.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
my God, like what did you think after? I mean, what could you have been thinking seeing that? And then why do you think that gnome was smiling at you? Do you think he knew you?
He might have known me. He might have. I mean, I used to climb that tree, and if that was his tree,
Wow.
so maybe
That
someone rubbed off on me. Maybe someone me rubbed off on him. Who knows?
wow, 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 wow. I love that. I love that idea that, the places that we go, the parks that we go to, that there are literally these little elves and fairies that if you're there enough and you haunt a place, like it's your like place to hang out, they know you. They know you. It's like cheers,
Yeah.
they know who you are. Okay, and then you hearing the vibrations and the tones in the body. Like I live for vibrations and frequency, so I understand that. But this is another first, not a first, but it's rare to hear somebody saying that they actually hear their organs or their heart. Like we are music. We're music in motion. I really,
Hmm.
and I believe it. They say that we're frequency and we're energy. So you put those two things together, we are literally music in motion. And then uh it goes from that to you hearing the doors. So the doors, I'm assuming this is a you know this group. What song was playing by the doors when this happened?
Oh, there were different songs. I think one of them I don't really remember actually. I
Okay,
think one of them was Soul Kitchen. It was the Doors. It
okay.
was a Jim Morrison. It was a '60s band. I think
Yeah,
Jim Morrison
yeah.
died in '72.
But the
I think
soul
that's when
kitchen,
he
think
died.
about it. You hear that? Because at that point, do you think that you were out of your soul? The fact that this music sounded so loud, it just sounds like either you were in and out of your body, or, do you think you were still in your body at the time that you started hearing the doors playing so loud that it was painful?
I was still in my body then, and
Okay.
that's what made me get up.
Oh,
That's what made me
wow.
get up, and even it still feels music still cut through me, still cutting through me
Wow.
all the whole time it was on.
But were you able, okay, so I'm a little confused. Were you able to turn down the music? I thought you couldn't touch
No,
the dials.
no, I couldn't touch anything. I couldn't turn the music down. The music faded away when Bob came.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that you might have been in your body at that moment if you couldn't turn down the music. That doesn't make
Right, right. I don't think I was. I don't think, well, I didn't. I wasn't. I just didn't know I wasn't. I
Oh, okay,
wasn't.
okay.
I didn't know I wasn't until I crawled clawed my way back into the family room where my body was.
Wow.
And when I saw it, then that that's when I really freaked out. Like I said,
Wow. And then you seeing everything outside being weird and colorful. So it sounds like what a lot of people who do astral projection and OBEs, and I've had an OBE as a child, so I have been out of my body, so I can understand these stories a lot better. But it sounds like you were in the astral realm, like you were already in the space outside of the human 3D, because people say that
yeah,
they see
yeah.
that everything is either much brighter or things change. It's not quite what it is, but it looks a little different. So it
Uh,
sounds like at that point you were in the astral, but then you say that you look in a mirror and you didn't see yourself, which is beyond freaky, beyond freaky. And I think I've heard one woman who astral projected purposely, consciously, and looked in the mirror to see how she looked, and she saw herself as a soul. And most people say the soul looks like very white, because it's light, and with blue, so like a bluish white. Um,
uh.
but you saw nothing. And that to me is like, I have to look into that because I can't even imagine why. That's very weird to me. But it ties to a question that I do have. At any point during this experience, did you look down at yourself to see how you look? Like look down to see.
Oh well, in the beginning, yeah. Once I lost the body aspect of it, I enough to know that I was just light. I was just whatever my straight energy is, whatever my
Okay.
baseline is.
Wow. So you weren't in an astral body. You were just an orb of light.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
amazing.
kind of like an orb, kind of. It's hard to describe. It changed. Everything it was never all the same all the whole time. It was
Wow.
like a shimmer to going to like different colors and stuff. And my colors were kind of like Bob's. Of course, Bob's were just like way better than mine. But we were cut from the same cloth. So
But so that was a question I had because you said something about something being the colors of you and Bob. What color was Bob and what color were you? Or what colors?
oh, just purples and pinks and reds and blues and greens and it just all kinds of different colors, all kinds. Well,
Wow.
kind of like
Okay.
I'm seeing on the on your background there the circle
Yeah.
in the frame there.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like that. That's kind of how they looked, only not a circle. You know what I'm saying? They're the same kind of
Yeah.
colors as what you see in the background there.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. And then the part where you said I heard about prayer, like like it's just amazing. Like when people, you could be atheist, you could be, not even ever think about religion, but as soon as you're like out of your body, starts thinking about prayer and and God. It starts to become a thing.
Uh,
But my question for you is, beyond the 2 years of Lutheran school, like, did your parents not teach any form of religion?
no, no, we tried different things. We went to different churches and stuff like that, but I never really got into it. I mean, when I was there for at that Lutheran school, the teacher who was also the principal, who was also the pastor's assistant, he he sent me out to shovel snow during religion class because of my mouth. Because
Wow.
I went to elementary school and public school. Okay, I learned about evolution and stuff in third and fourth grade. Okay,
Mm,
and I learned about science. I had science class. It's like, and none of that stuff was adding up. It's like, well, I don't know. Science says this. Well, I come back with that, and he didn't like that at all.
mm,
He finally just said, well, "Go shovel snow," and
mm.
I didn't mind. So
Now, do you think, because I mean, there's some people who, like for me, like I became less religious and more spiritual because I see the good in religion, but I also see the problems and the fact that it
yes.
separates us and segregates and all that kind of stuff. So there was a point during my last spiritual evolution that it was just like, in order for you to embrace everybody, you cannot be part of any one religion. And so I'm not, but I have a strong sense of God. But my
Yeah.
question to you is, because there's a lot of people who have done that, have made the move from religious to spiritual for their separate reasons, but they don't really know how to whereas they might have been raised strictly religious, they don't really know how to raise their children. Like what type, well, they know how to raise their children, but they don't know if they should raise them with some level of religious understanding or what should they do. So do you feel like you that you would have been in a better place if you had been raised more religious or not? Did it not matter on the other side?
Oh, so things would have been different, I think, if I given had a background like that. I mean, I'm not against religions by any means. I mean, they all have their places, and they all have they all have a lot in common to them. They
Mm,
have they all have creation theories. They all have Armageddon things. They all have all the little morals and lessons and stuff in them. And there's
mm,
it's the religion isn't really a bad thing. It's meant to be a good thing, but it can it can we can mess it up,
mm,
and in a lot of ways we have, but still, it's there's a purpose for all of it. I mean, Jesus was well, I understood he was a great master vibration, in that he's not the only one. So
yes.
religion has their place. I mean, if it helps people to love one another, hey, that's what Jesus told me to tell everybody to do. So
Yes, yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to veer towards that what you said there because it does tie to this what we're talking about here is that if you were told that a lot of these masters, ascended masters like Jesus, and we can assume others like who, like the people who probably created most of the world's religions might be on that list of high vibrational beings. So as
yeah,
long as
yeah,
the religion teaches goodness, help one another, love, the basics, then it's helpful, right?
right,
Overall,
yes, yes,
spiritually.
I agree.
Okay. And then okay, so then when you saw Bob, did he have like an ethnicity or was he like Jesus where it was like a light? Like was he like a light being or something? Like how did he yeah.
He was a light being. I only saw him. I think I only saw him as looking like a human, so that I would have some kind of frame of reference. And I think that's why, same thing with Jesus, same thing. So I could have a frame of reference as to
Yes.
what I was looking at, because I didn't know what I was looking at. It was just all colors. I didn't know what it was then.
Yes, yes. And so I'm tying in some of my later questions into these because, like you said as well, and I want to stop on this for a little bit because, as you know, that as soon as somebody has had an experience with Jesus, the first question that everybody asks is, "What color was he? How did he look?" Like it's our human issues. We try to put them out, in the spirit world, and it doesn't really mesh sometimes. So I love the fact that for a split second he made himself appear like how you would understand him, you know? So like
Yes, yes.
had it been somebody who saw him a little differently in a different type church or wherever, they would have seen that image and then the light being again. And so that to me is everything. Like it really to me I feel very strongly that this sounds like Jesus to me. It does, you know? I like
Mhm.
that. Um, okay. Uh, and I love, and this is how I know that you and I grew up on the mean streets. Because when you first meet Bob, you say, "How do I know who you are?" And that would have been what I asked too. Like, how do I know for sure who you are?
Oh well, he did expound on that a little bit when we were in the driveway. He told me some things. He told me about things that I thought about. Like my parents got divorced and I got adopted into another family. My mom, married another guy, and I got adopted into that family. And he told me things that I thought about when I went to bed at night before I went to sleep, things that
Wow.
I was wishing for, and things that I wanted. He started telling me stuff about my father, my real father, who I never met. But
Mm,
yeah, he started telling me stuff about that, about how I wanted to be with him, and just a
mm.
bunch of other personal stuff, 4-year-old stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Wow, wow. I mean, on one hand, some people, because a lot of people say that any being on the fourth dimension can. So I always try to keep an open mind. Any being in the fourth dimension can hear our thoughts, hear our thoughts and can see through time because time is a earth thing or Gaia thing. It's not outside in the spirit world. But at the same time, I definitely believe in spirit guides and angels. And it's just amazing that our guide really are our guides, because people say they come in and change sometimes, but that they really do know us. Like this is a being that really has been there intimately through every moment of this life. I don't know if they do it separate lives. Like, do you know if he was your guide in your previous lives or just this one?
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know
okay,
for
okay,
sure. I think
okay,
maybe,
okay,
yeah, but I don't know for sure.
okay. And you see him more as a guide than an angel, or which do you?
It depends on how I think of him.
Hmm.
I kind of thought he was an angel when I first saw him, but then I
Hmm.
think about the typical angel. It's like, well, he didn't have any wings. He didn't, he, he, he just didn't seem. I see him as a guy. Is
Yes,
what I see
yeah,
him as.
yeah,
Most of the time.
yes.
I talk to him. I mean, he doesn't. We don't really like have conversation. It's
Hmm.
mostly all up here. Like when I'm thinking about something, I think about, well, Bob, what should I do? Like when I got served, when I got divorced, right? Got served.
Hmm.
I asked Bob. I said, Bob, what the hell? And he said, what did you expect, David? It's like, oh
Oh
God, no.
wow. Oh wow.
Oh,
Tough
what did I
love.
expect? I didn't expect
Tough
this.
tough
And,
love.
and that's how he is. I mean, he really doesn't like give me anything. He likes me to figure things out for myself, and that's how he works.
Wow.
So
And I'm so glad you're saying that, because to me, if there's, because again, I am very distrustful, like to the point of like extremism. But to me, if somebody's concerned if a voice is a demon or a ghost or something else as opposed to their spirit guide, from what I have heard, the spirit guides, because they're here to guide you and help you learn, if they literally like teachers or mentors, it's that kind of thing where it's like they're like a therapist, like they're going to ask you questions, they're not going to give you the answers. They're going to just ask you, what do you feel or what do you think, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay. All right. So then you see the seven or part of the seven wonders of the world, which is beyond awesome. And it's just like, okay, so Egypt was one of the first, like the pyramids was one of the first. Is it a coincidence that that particular life, you know what I mean? Because like you could have went to Asia or you could have went to, Australia or Africa, Europe. You could have went all over, and you just happened. The first place, Egypt, is where you had your life where it's tied to this one. I think that is so coincidental, in a way. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that and I want to stop on this for a moment because it's a big thing for most people that you might have lived your life thinking, some things like, why me? And I mean, we all do. God knows I do. When you have these troubles and these struggles, and it's just like, why is this place so bad? Like, why is it so hard? Like we all have those moments we just kind of break down.
Uh,
And for you to hear that you had done something in this other life, and you at this point you didn't believe in past lives. Like, this is a whole new idea for you at this moment, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you live this whole nother life. You're thinking, I'm white male America. This is me. And he's like, no, you were Egyptian. Like, sorry, you've been everything, So that's a big thing that, you're blessed to be given that information because most people live their whole life and kind of even might even waste a life because they do not understand that the reality of the situation, that we have been everything and we're here to experience and to love and to help, and you got it all. So it's a
Mhm.
blessing, truly a blessing.
Yes.
But it's just so interesting that he didn't tell you what you did wrong in that life. Not surprising, because I mean, I have heard before that they kind of don't want you to know the things that could affect how you live this life. And it sounds like that's exactly what would happen
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
found
And
out.
that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah,
I mean, some things is just better off that you not know. You
yes.
know.
And for those people who, because there's people who, like I said, because this life is so hard, people who always question, why are we getting our memory wiped? Like, what's the point in that? How do you learn if, or sometimes you keep learning, okay, how do you learn if you forget the lessons that, you were supposed to get? Like, so people have that question, like, it just doesn't make sense that we have this amnesia. And I can understand that to some extent, but your whole moment right here explains exactly why we have to have the amnesia. That if you lived a life where you were just, Genghis Khan, or, you're just out there just slaughtering everybody, raping everybody, just doing the worst of the worst for whatever reason. And then you come into another life where you have a clean slate, where you can be that Mother Teresa. Like you can do a whole, 180 and just be the kindest, goodest person you can find, because you're not holding on and seeing, okay, this is what I did. I mean, that's what we want in this life
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
There's a guilt thing involved in that too. It's like, if I knew what I did, would I still do what I need to do now? What I, that would, they'll just delay things. It just won't, it would hurt things. It would hurt my path, which in turn is going to affect other people's paths too. So I
Yes,
gotta, well, maybe I'll find out eventually. Maybe next time, maybe I don't know, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm okay with now without knowing.
Yes, yes. And I think this is some like wisdom that people who have lived uh 'cause, okay, people who have lived a very like dark life at the beginning of their life, like did a lot of bad things, some people do that. Um and the whole idea of rehabilitation, right? Like you can't get amnesia in the middle of a life purposely and forget everything that you did. But there's a point where you have to forgive yourself. If you can get forgiveness, that's great. Ask the people who you hurt to get forgiveness, but you have to forgive yourself without question and then try to start anew as if that yesterday you was not you. You have to try your best. And that's the only way to really change a life, like to really move forward. So I love this whole moment. I'm telling you, it's like you can help and heal a lot of people with just that whole experience. It's amazing. Um, all right. And let's see, some things about okay, and then a lot of it's just notes because you just had an amazing, like to me, one of the best NDEs ever, right? So then you get outside of Earth and you start seeing the energies. And I couldn't quite hear you. So you were just saying that you saw the energies going in and out of the Earth? Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. There are different places. Like that's part of what he explained about the pyramids. That's so
Hmm.
the pyramids are for that too. They don't work now, but they used to work. And there's other places that are under the seas too. Like I got they're like pyramids under the seas and like little like holes and stuff like that. Just ancient civilizations that are they're all
What?
under there and all the ancient civilizations back when way back when used to
Hmm.
know about the energy of the planet, used to work with the energy of the planet, and we don't do that as much anymore.
Ah,
But
we're
that's
sitting on a gold
that's how it
mine.
was. And same thing like there was some in the Southwest too. There's some
Oh
areas in the
yeah.
Southwest that had like they're I call them energy places. It's like here Sedona, that's a vortex. That's part of
Oh
it.
yeah.
That's
Hmm.
part of what I saw. So
Yes. I lived
so
in Arizona and I was in Sedona every weekend. I love the way it felt. I can't see anything, but I know something's there. And so I went there every weekend. And I brought my family, whoever family I could bring, I brought them to see it. I was like, this place is magical. And so you get into the idea of ley lines and things like that. And I just love that you are confirming that you literally saw in your spirit self, you were able to see and confirm that there are vortexes, there are ley lines, there are places that have this energy that is open and connecting, that connects us
yeah,
to the
yeah.
other world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the where I'm at now, where I'm at now is just the natural energy of it. I mean, it never fails. Whenever I go outside and I look over at the mountains, or even when I'm just sitting here, even now, looking at the
Yeah.
mountains, I feel better about something.
Good.
It always makes me feel better. It
Yes.
hasn't. Last year was better. It was my first year here last year, but
Hmm.
this year is a little different because I have more personal issues that I'm trying to take care of.
Thank God. All right. Yes, I love the fact that you saw the energies of the city. So like I said, you're from close to a city. I am from New York City. Like you can't, can't get any more city. And I always just when we had the chance to go out in nature, I just could tell the difference. I could tell the freedom. I could tell the energy like connecting to God. And it's just amazing that you were able to see that as well, like very clearly that the energy is completely different. And not even just different, but I mean, if you had the choice, would you just say that it's not as good? The energy in the cities is not as clear or clean or, strong?
Yeah, it's just not it doesn't compare to
It
natural
doesn't
energy.
compare.
It just doesn't. I mean, it's different. I keep saying I live in Montana in the mountains, but Montana has 1,100,000 people. The Detroit metro area has about 5 or 6 million people. The whole state
Wow.
in Michigan has 10 million people, and it's
Wow.
everything's just so spread out here. And well, obviously with less people, you're going to have a lot less other things too.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's I just I'm glad I'm where I'm at. I mean, that's sure stuff happened. Yeah, I'm not married anymore. Yeah, my but I live here and I
Yes,
work
yeah.
here and I'm happy,
Yeah.
which is
That's
I wasn't
everything.
happy for a long time.
That's everything. People don't understand you could be in a relationship, you can have everything that looks perfect, and if you're not happy, then it's just like you're not there. You got work to do. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
happiness is the goal to some extent, one of the goals
yeah,
that we have here.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I also love that you mentioned, like while we're still on this, I love that Bob told you, and I don't know that I've ever heard this, but it makes total sense, is that we have to manage our energy when it comes to a relationship. Like that to me, if people could just listen to those words, that will help so many of us because in general, men and women, like it's the reason why they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus or something like that, is we literally are here, I think, to try to figure out how to balance. Like as soon as you get into a relationship, it's almost like it's like it's a whole nother mission. In addition to everything else you're
Yeah,
doing here on
yeah,
Earth, it becomes a whole nother mission of trying to balance those energies, the male and the female. And we all have to do it. It's not like it's something that just natural. It literally is work. And we have to figure out how do we do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It
So
takes a lot of time too. I mean, I tried for 40 years to manage my energy the right way. I mean, we were married for 40 years, and it's still even after that, even after changes, like I said I'm an alcoholic and a bipolar disorder. Still have the bipolar disorder, but it's managed. And so far as
mm,
drinking, I've been sober since 2012. So it's
wow.
I uh, changed that way. It's just that all my whole life, the 30 years before that, was just
Yeah,
it was just too bad. I
yeah.
mean, I ruined everything from basically from the start, and
Yeah.
But anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
That's my
Yes.
old life. My new life is here in Montana. So
Yes, yes. And I mean, there's so much healing in kind of being alone sometimes as well. Like, 'cause I'm at that place too where it's like there's certain spiritual things that you cannot tackle, and or it's harder to tackle when you're in a relationship. So if for whatever reason your life goes in that direction, there are things that you can do more easily spiritually and connecting to God and all that you couldn't do when you're kind of managing another person's energy. It's just different,
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's just awesome. All right, let me move on. So okay. All right. So tell everybody you answered a lot of these questions already. The other very cool thing was you seeing spirits, like actually seeing that there are ghosts on this planet. That's big. And you mentioned a couple of reasons why, because a lot of people really do have this question, and I'll just bring it up so you can understand what the question a lot of people have about ghosts, who believe in ghosts, but just wonder if everybody has angels or guardian angels or guides, and everybody is shown that light, that white light upon passing. Like that's the most common thing NDE or see is a bright white light, um which you didn't see. Did you see the light? You didn't see the light.
No, no,
Oh
just a
wow.
star. But and maybe that was the light. Maybe I don't know.
Yes. Oh
It
my
could have been.
God.
It could have been. I don't know. I didn't go
Wow.
there.
Wow.
Wish I
Okay.
wanted to. I still want to.
Okay. Yeah. But we need you here. You got work to do. You got more work to do.
Okay.
All right. Okay. But so when most people see the white light or the tunnel on the white light, right?
Hmm.
And so the question they ask is why why would everybody not go towards the tunnel or the light? Like why would their guides not help them? Like how could a soul get lost? Like people really have this question. And are you saying from what you saw or you knew, I'm assuming it's a knowing that's why you know why these souls are there. Is it because they maybe lived a bad life, what they consider a bad life, or they judged themselves and said, okay, I don't want to know what's on the other side. I don't want to get in trouble, you
That's
know?
part of it. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then maybe, but I mean, is there ever any confusion? Like if somebody is purposely, for whatever reason, they're attached to a person, attached to money, attached to, possessions or houses and stuff like that, that could be another reason that they purposely ignore the light and stay here. But are there any, like, say there was a child that passed at like 3 or 4 or something like that, is it possible that a soul could be confused and this was not helped by spirit or their spirit guides? Is that ever?
Oh, that's a hard question.
I
Um,
know,
um,
I know.
I mean, like I could have spurned Bob. I could have spurned him. I could have said, bullshit. It's all bullshit. All this is bullshit. I could have said that, but I didn't. And
Yeah.
but I think a lot of the reasons why people get stuck here is they get into this and they like it here and they don't want change, or they're they
Mm.
or something tips them off saying that, well, when you go back, you're going to see things again, and they don't want to see those things again, and they don't
Oh,
want to have
okay.
to, like, there's an atonement type of a thing involved in it,
Mm.
I had to answer for the stuff that I did,
Okay.
and a lot of people just don't want to answer. They don't want to believe. Like, well, I worked in this movie theater that the city owned before I moved here to Montana. We
Hmm.
had ghosts there, and I used to see them. I used to work late before COVID. I used to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would clean the theater, blowing the popcorn out from underneath the seats. I would hear
Hmm.
things. I heard a couple talking, a man and a woman talking. Woman was doing most of the talking. The man would just answer every couple of minutes. He'd answer with like one sentence, and then she'd go back on and on and on about whatever she's talking about. And then another time, I saw a old man at the top of the
Hmm.
stairs. He had a cane and he had a top hat on and a long coat. I saw
Hmm.
him for I saw him for a good second. I had a real good look at him, and then he
Hmm.
went away. Well, but and they were always there. I mean, there was always something. I always make some kind of noise I'd hear that, they'd slam the doors in the stall in the bathroom. They'd slam the
Wow.
doors. It's like, whoa, I know I'm the only one in this place. You know, but I used to see them all the time. But then, I thought about it, it's like, well, maybe I'll just tell them to go to the light. But then I thought, well, why? Why? This is their place. They like it here. They want to go to the light. They can go to the light. All they have to do is ask for help, and they can go. They like it here. They
Mhm.
like it here. I just clean the place. But yeah, I tend to, I didn't really didn't want to mess with them. I mean, they seem happy, so well,
Yeah.
I'll be
And I
happy.
and I think there's a difference because you have people who and I totally forget the name of it. It's pop something, but there's people who do that. They literally go around and they send ghosts to the light. And I guess maybe it's when they are mischievous ghosts or like dangerous or dark ghosts, like they're actually like harming or trying to scare people, maybe and haunting. But I guess there's different types. Like I don't,
Yes,
right?
yes, they're
There's
dangerous. Well, a lot of them are
yeah,
dangerous. You got to be
yeah,
really careful with them. You got to be
yeah,
able to read them. You got to be able to gauge their intent.
yeah.
If
Okay.
you can gauge their intent, then you have a good idea whether or not you're how you're going to deal with them.
Yeah. Okay,
All
so you
right.
went to
And
the moon, but you didn't actually did you investigate the moon at all? Or it was just kind of like you were just looking
Well,
around?
asked about it, and I tell about this in my book too. I asked about
Hmm.
it, and Bob said it's a rest stop for us. And
A
I
rest
also
stop.
understood that it has to do with the energy of the universe and the energy of the planet. It's kind of like a governor, kind of sort of, I don't know, like maybe like a battery or something. The energy goes from the universe to the moon, and then the moon changes it and sends it to our planet, send it to Gaia.
Interesting.
And then it goes, it's a back and forth type thing.
Interesting. I mean, people
Uh,
say during full moons, like, but things tend to get crazy during full moons, as opposed
mhm.
to good. So I've always had that question. Like for me, the sun to me seems like, it's a connection to source, to God, and it brings in good energy. And the moon, I've just always been concerned about what it's all about and what it's bringing into this world. Because it just the fact that there's more murders and more arguments during full moons to me is just like, what is this all about? But that's an interesting take. I've never heard that before, so I'm gonna note that. And then you saw the aura of the Earth. I'm sorry, of Gaia. Let's call her Gaia from now on.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder why we even started calling her Earth. Like, what happened there? Because Gaia has been used before. Like, why?
Yeah. I think the Greeks used it.
Hmm. So where did
Someone
Earth
told me
come?
that.
Why are we calling it Earth? I have no clue. I got to look into that.
I don't know.
Um, and then here's the other thing that I love. I love, I love, I love. It's like, okay, it doesn't sound like from how you were living up until that point, up until the point of the NDE, it didn't sound like you were like an environmentalist or conservationist. Like I could be wrong, but it's like as soon as you in spirit started to see the pain that Earth was going through, it sounds like you automatically were like championing her. Like you're like, hey, we gotta take care of her. Is that right, or am I just making up stuff?
That's right. I really didn't even think about that kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
More, more thinking about me, and what I was
Hmm.
going to do and what my friends would think, and all just stuff like that. Like you do when even when you're old, you used to. So
Hmm. Okay. So, but something like when you got there, you started to feel more concerned about her. Like you saw that she was in a bad state, or
yeah.
yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right. And then I love that you saw because like I feel like I've heard the music of the spheres. Like during really hard times, I literally start to hear music. It's the weirdest thing. And but other people have this experience as well. So I love that you were out there and you started to realize like these are giving off like sounds. It's like it sounds like music, the different planets and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
There was no
okay.
beat. There was no beat to it.
There's no drums.
That's what was unique about it to me. There was no beat. It was
Yeah.
just tones, just
Like,
continuous type tones that changed just subtly.
do you know ambient music?
I, I,
Ambient.
I think
Okay, if you ever get a chance, listen to ambient music and tell me if it's like that because it's kind of more ethereal and it doesn't really have loud sounds or anything or beats, but it's like music, it's sound.
I used to have a CD that had that on it. My ex bought it for me.
Hmm.
Um, I used to have it. I don't have it anymore, but it did sound like that. well, I listen to all kinds of music, but
Hmm.
well, I listen to like new age music, new age instrumental music, and a lot
Yeah.
of that reminds me of the tones that I saw. There's some places
Wow.
like there's a group called Liquid Mind. They're very good
Hmm.
for that. Another one, Deuter, Deuter. It's
Uh-huh.
another new age instrumental that makes makes me reminds me of it. It kind of comforts
Wow.
me. That's what I listen to at night. Is new
Yeah,
age
yeah.
instrumental music. I turn it on at night and I sleep to that. So
And I like that you said it comforts you. So like when you're retelling this story or when you're thinking about your experience, do you feel like you part of you goes back there? Like do you really feel like you're back in that energy in that space?
yes,
Good, good,
yes,
good. Awesome. Awesome. 'Cause I hear that a lot and I think that's amazing. Like that is it's a gift. It's an absolute gift. All right. And then I love that you mentioned so many things, but I love that you mentioned or you asked Bob, like kind of why can I see this stuff now but not in the body? And he was explaining how high and low vibration is. So people who want to have these experiences while in the human body, you would think that you have to get your vibration high or try to keep it high. Like don't go into
yes.
depression, don't work with drugs, don't play with drugs and
Takes
alcohol, all
work.
this stuff brings it all down. You gotta do whatever you can to stay up high, stay high naturally. um, okay, so I love that. I love that. And then now the star was interesting because I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of things that I have heard before, and then when I hear something new, it's exciting to me because I've never heard that. Like to me, a star is a being. Like I do consider them the same way Gaia is a being. I consider stars to be beings, like completely, just higher level beings.
Yes, yes, yes. If I might point out something, Gaia is a spirit. She's
Mm.
a senior spirit, just like the rest of the other planets are. They're like
Hmm.
they're a totally different level than us, but they are spirits. They are souls. They have feelings. They have all
Wow.
that stuff, all the same stuff we have. And I
God.
like to think that, or I like to think that Gaia is my mother
Aw.
and that God is my father, which is the energy of all things.
Yes.
And that's who made my
Yes.
soul
Yes. Yes.
and my body.
And yes. Awesome. Awesome. So I was getting goosebumps. Like everything about your story, you are awesome. Just know that you are awesome.
Thank you.
You might forget it. We all forget it. I'm reminding you, you're awesome. Okay. All right. And so you said the star was like a almost like a black hole, but it was a circle, and then on the other side of the circle was a blue light, and that circle was sucking in stuff, like it was a black
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. We couldn't get too close. We stayed far enough where it wouldn't get us. But uh,
I would
that's
love to talk to somebody like a scientist who like really studies stars to see if they have seen anything like that, if they understand that. You know what I mean? Like,
I have back in Hubble used to have a website that has all their pictures on it. I can't
yeah,
find it
yeah.
anymore. I was searching that website for pictures of it. I haven't done it for
Wow.
a while, but I have seen things that look like it, but not the same, not the same.
Yeah.
I know it again if I've seen it.
Yeah. And there's another website, I think Billy Carson had mentioned it, where you can see space. So I don't know it offhand, but I will text it to you later, and I'll probably have it go across the screen.
Okay.
Just for people who want to kind of look at space and all the different galaxies and nebulae and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's awesome. So um, before I pass that moment, another cool part about that is that you wanted to like you sound like you're very, I mean, we could say adventurous, we could say wild, I get it, but you clearly have a certain personality because you wanted to go in the star. Like you weren't afraid, you wanted to jump in and see what was going on. And I
There's
love
something in
that.
there for me. There's something in there for me. I know there is. I know there is.
Wow. I wish you knew. Like that to me is just like one of those moments. I'm like, I want to know what happened because Bob says that you might not be ready for what you would see on the other side of that. I'm like, I want to know. I want to know now. Like, what would it have been? My God,
Yeah.
do you have
What
any
do I have to
idea?
do to be ready? Is my question.
So do you think? Okay, so do you think it's something like really positive, like almost like a heavenly or like a gift or a present, like something like spectacular like that, like something
Right.
really good?
I think it's a whole new place. I think it's like another
Wow.
universe. That's what I think. I think it was like a
God.
portal. to another universe. That's what I think it is.
David. And I'm so glad you wrote a book. Like you, I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but you just the my God, I'm like, I'm gonna start stuttering. You have one of the best NDEs in life, okay? Um, my God, this it also to me, I want to mention this in case people are not thinking about it, but your experience to me shows why we should all be trying to do our absolute best. Forget religion, forget, any kind of fear, doing our best to be our best we can possibly be in our current avatar, in our current life, given our current situations. We should every morning, every day be trying to be our best us because it sounds like it really is a merit based system where you get the keys to certain galaxies and certain heavens and certain planets and certain experiences based on how well you do as a soul throughout all of these lives.
Right,
And if
right.
and that to me, I hope is the case. Like I have other scenarios that are not as cool as that, but if that is the case, we all should be doing our best to get better, to help the people surrounding us and in our lives to get better, so that we can have better, and to experience more. And
Yes.
your experience yells that to me, and I love it. I love it for that reason. My God. Okay. And then the other beyond cool thing is this platform or and tell me what name you have for it, because I have heard, well, first, okay, before we get into this, so this space that was not Earth, but it was just above Earth, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I just had a guest, uh, John Davis, who was talking about his experience on the other side and was what they called it. And he saw an orientation center. He saw a building, like you said, as huge, like it just kept going on for miles. And a lot of the buildings there looked like Greek or Roman, like with, pillars and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So my first question to you, because in my mind, when you started talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, is this the same place? I got really excited because it sounds very similar. Did this, did that building, the main building, did it look like the Greek or Roman style building, or did it look like something else? Like, how could you describe that building?
It was kind of, it wasn't like Greek or Rome. It was more simple. That's how I would describe it. It's just simple. It's big,
Mm-hmm.
but the buildings, all the buildings there were just simple. They were like made of natural things.
Oh, okay.
They weren't made of you know, I didn't see any bricks. I didn't see any
Yeah.
asphalt. I didn't see, any.
Did you see
I didn't see any
marble?
concrete. I didn't see none of that. It was all, more.
Wow.
It was the buildings, I believe, were stone, were white stone.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
believe the buildings were. Same thing as the bench that I sat on in the garden.
Yeah.
That was white. That was white stone too, made out of
So
white
like
stone.
like marble, would you think it's marble like or no? Like more rough?
It was
I
more
asked a lot of
rough.
questions.
It was more
More rough.
rough. It was more
Okay.
rough.
Okay, because this is
At
the
least the
first
bench in the
time.
garden was.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing that. That's the only reason why I wanted detail because it's so it doesn't actually sound like what John Davis and others have experienced, where it looks like, Roman architecture or buildings, like the things like that. Um, but it's just also sounds beautiful. It sounds like a magical place. Like this whole thing, I just started to see in my mind's eye, like this is spectacular. And then you see the courtyard with the well inside. You said spirits were going in and out, like in and out of the well.
No, they were getting something in and out of the well. They're
Oh,
getting something out of
wow.
there. I don't know what. I don't know what it was.
That
I
is
don't know.
interesting. Wow. Okay. And then okay, so and then you said, okay, and this is another cool part. Okay, so you go in, well, wait, a big question I had. So when you went into the house and you said there were spirits in each room of the house, and
Right.
that, but later on you said that you think that four of the spirits were your future children, or was that, am I
Yes.
again?
Yes. There were four of them in that house. They're all concerned I was there. My thought is that they were preparing to come here. And
Now with
that's why they're in that house. They're preparing to come here to live here on Gaia.
Now I've
And
heard this, like, meeting your future children and that, but why did concern you were there? Like they didn't want you to, I don't understand why they were concerned you were there. Like, As oh, concern you were there, like you're not supposed to pass, like you need to get back to Earth.
Yeah, like why are you here? We need
Oh,
you somewhere else. We don't need you here.
oh my God, I get it now. Okay, because at first I thought they were kicking you
That's
out.
why
I'm
they were
like,
concerned. They're concerned. It's like, well, he's here. What are we gonna do? You know?
wow.
I mean,
Okay,
there's
yes,
a lot of people say that there's like an agreement that you make in
yes,
between other souls to help each other out while you're here.
yes.
That's I think that's part of that.
I am so glad I asked that question because I was confused. I'm like, why are they kicking him out of this house? But it makes sense because they're like, look, you got to be there so we can go there, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then I love that too because especially with somebody who dealt with depression when I was a child, for all a million different reasons. But and knowing people, like just knowing people who are like suicidal, I've heard that it, there are people who don't believe that you go to hell and stuff like that. That the biggest issue with that is that you kind of mess up the contract. So like people who were like, if you were to have to supposed to have children, like now those souls got to do something else and figure something else out.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes,
so it kind of
yes.
just messes up the play,
It's a big
basically.
pain. It's a big pain.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Okay.
That's why suicide's bad. One of the
Okay.
reasons.
Okay. And then it was interesting that when you went into the let's say the spiritual courthouse or something or wherever that was, um,
Council
um,
chamber is what I call
council
it.
chamber. Okay, council chamber, much nicer than what I thought. Okay, so the council chamber. It sounds like at this point maybe you were starting to regain your spirit memory because you remembered one of those guys. You were like, oh boy, not that guy.
Yeah, it had to do something with Egypt, and that's also a part of what happened when I was sitting on the wooden bench. I
Hmm.
started remembering things while I was
Mm,
sitting in that on that bench, and I
okay.
almost remember what it was that landed me there the last time when Bob
Whoa.
came
So you were
out.
close.
And he
You
coming
were
up. Well,
close.
I almost had it figured out. I was this close, and then Bob came out, and it's like, okay, well,
Yes. People don't realize that 'cause that's the normal how it works normally is that you gradually start to remember who you were, or who you
yeah,
are
yeah,
really. So
yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. But you said it was cold in there. I have never I'm just so I don't even have a question. Like I don't I'm to me it's something I'm just gonna keep in the back of my mind because it's just like why would it be cold in here? I don't get it. Like I don't know. Like a lot of times around spirit, people say if anything, it feels hotter. It might feel or it feels perfect, like it's perfect. But it's odd that you felt cold to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was cold in there for some reason. I don't know
Hmm.
how it just being energy I could be cold, but yep, it was cold in there.
Yeah. Okay. And then before I don't know how I got. Okay. Oh, okay. So then you started talking about your life review. So was it like other people's life review where you, as you're going through it, you feel other people's how you made other people feel and how okay, so you went through all that. Okay.
Yes, yes,
All right. And
yes.
then
That was the most one of the most that was like pretty much the main part of it. The whole thing is like what did you do? What did you create? And and it showed me what I created, and just how and I got to feel how I made other people feel. And I
okay.
didn't really care for that. And
I don't think
I'm
too
trying
many
to make
people
up for that kind
care.
of stuff now. So
Good, 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 good. And that's the best that we can do because like we all have done something in some way or I mean nobody's clean here. And we've
yeah,
lived a lot of lives. So even if you're clean here, then you might not have been clean 2 or 3 lives ago. So it's just all about trying your best, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and just keep trying your best, trying to do better, better, better. That's all we all can do, period.
that's right.
Um, and then you mentioned the funny uncle, and I went through the same thing as a child, and it could have really destroyed my life. Like there were years where it did have an effect. So it, I guess it's helpful that you saw where some of it started. Like how it affected you and how um, you know,
Yeah, it's like they
uh,
showed me. It's like, well, no wonder you're like this. No wonder.
yeah,
Look what happened.
yeah. But there's always a point because I know for myself too. Like once I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, like there's a point where as the victim, because we're all, we victimize and we are the victim. That's just life. Like as you go through life, you're playing one of the two roles,
Right.
unfortunately. And it's a point though where as the victim, you get tired of hurting from the actions that someone else did. Like it gets exhausting and painful, and you just say, you know what, the heck with this, I'm not doing this anymore, you know. And then you take your power back, and then you start, you start bringing joy into your life and not letting it affect you, because if not, you just lose a whole life to
Right.
be lost, stuck in that, you know.
Yeah.
And I say that for us, and I say that for anybody else listening who has been through that. You know, you have to take your power back, take your joy back, and just move forward. You know. Um, okay, so then, so it's good. You saw the good, you saw the bad, and then okay, again, a big blessing, because I would love to sit with my Bob and know about my future. You know, like you got to sit and kind of hear about what, what would be. Um, are the things that he told you, do you think those are the things that are kind of set in stone? Because people say that there are certain things that are set in stone, that they are going to happen no matter what you do. And then there's those things that, if you, depending on free will, you can change other things around a little bit. So do you feel like those
Okay.
were the things that?
Yeah. An example, working jobs for me.
Hmm.
Bob said I would have problems getting and keeping jobs. And I did my entire life. I had problems getting keeping jobs until I got the job I have now. But it I knew that I was going to have problems getting jobs. I knew that. And I got a job just after a couple months after the experience. I got a job working at this factory, machine tool shop. A stepfather worked at. He worked there for 30
Mm,
years. I got there, he had a backlog, 3-year backlog of machines. I was working overtime, 58 hours a week. I worked 3 years
mm,
straight. I thought I was all set. So I thought, okay, I got a good job. Now it's time to find me a girl. So,
mm,
so I found the woman who became my wife, and I asked her to marry me, right?
mm,
Well, 6 months before we were going to get married, I got laid off from that job, and that factory closed. And I got
what?
married. I was unemployed when I got married. I went looking for jobs that summer, and nobody could pay me what I was making at the other place. Nobody could pay me more than what I would get off unemployment. More than one place told me, just go to the beach. That's what they told me. It's like, ever since then, I mean, I tried, no matter what I tried, joined the Navy, right? 5 years in the Navy. Loved it.
Oh,
It was
wait, David, I lost your. Here you go.
there it is. But I was in the Navy. I thought I was going to be in there, and then they offered me the world to stay in. But then X said, "Well, you'll be a single man if you stay in, because it's military, in the
Yeah,
Navy,
yeah,
divorces happen, and
yeah.
I chose her, and he got out of the Navy. But I
Mm,
told her I wanted to work in an auto factory. I got a
mm,
DD 214. I can get into the auto factory really easy. And that's what I wanted to
mm,
do. I wanted to be the person who worked and made the money for the family.
mm.
That never happened. Never happened in my
Wow.
entire life, no matter what I did to try to change that. I
Do
mean,
you feel like
that
it was some kind of past life thing? Because I mean, I feel like anytime something's
maybe,
a pattern in our life, it doesn't always have to be a past life thing, but it really could. Like the odds are that it's stuck with something previous, because
yeah, yeah.
otherwise, wow. Okay. So the other amazing thing that I liked here, so let me make sure I'm not skipping anything here. Oh, I am skipping something. So I love the fact that as you're out I totally skipped this. When you were out in like the galaxies, you said, who made all this? And this was, so I'm saying, like, this is such an obvious question to ask. Like, you're seeing all this intricacy and like this magic and this fantasy and like, oh my God. And then who made all this? Like, where is God in all this, And I love that you were kind of told that he's everything. Like all the energy, everything. He's everything and nothing. Is that what you guys said? Or no,
I
no, no,
didn't
he's
say everything and nothing, but I said
no,
he's
no.
everything. He's all the energy that is in everything.
And you said everything that you see and everything you don't see. That's where I got it wrong, right? So everything
Yes,
you
yes,
see and
yes.
everything you don't see. Yes, so everything. I
Yep.
love that. So that makes us a part of this being as well. So we are like children of God to some extent,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Yes, yes. Um, and okay. And then what do you think? And this is just a very weird question. You might not have an answer, but it's like you're looking at all this, you comprehend that God is not Jesus, right? It's a separate entity, it's this big, fathomable energy. Um, but out of nowhere, Jesus just jumps in, you know, kind of just visited you, like, hey, what's going on? And he pulls you within himself. Like he literally made you part of him. Is that what you kind of said?
Yes,
Like within,
yes.
which is again a huge gift as well. And how did you feel? Like, do you remember that feeling? Like, what did that feel like? I'm just really curious, being in
I
him.
I felt like I was like really peaceful. I felt like well, I was where I was supposed to be. I felt safe. I felt I
Wow.
wasn't afraid. I was
Yeah.
it was just it was like it's like being held by someone who loves you. That's what it
Oh,
felt like to me. It was
oh, wait, no,
like he was holding me,
I'm going to
saying
start crying again.
everything's all going to be okay.
I'm going to start crying again. You were messing me up today. Because like you don't know how powerful this is, David. You have no clue, especially on this earth because it's so difficult, to have that moment and like because you have that moment and you have it doesn't matter what you have. If it's bipolar, this, that, you could have any of these physical issues. But if you in meditation go back to that moment of being within Jesus, that's the answer right there. That's the key. That's the
Yeah, that would
key.
be cool to do. That's cool. I don't know how to
Do
do
it.
that.
It's not. Do you meditate?
Not really. I used to meditate in the mornings. I used to like wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and then just kind
Yeah.
of go into the doldrums for about
Hmm.
hour, maybe half an hour, and I would just just do that. But so far as like meditating and like getting anything, like
Yeah.
knowledge and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
I never really did. I don't meditate.
Okay. But
I can't seem to get into it. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know, but
no, no, no. This is for somebody who meditates all the time. It's hard for me too because my brain is just always, So
exactly. Well, mine is, with bipolar disorder, your brain kind of wants to go out on its own, and you got to kind of train it to, do what you need to
yeah.
do. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. So kind of
But the reason why I'm going
resetting
to say this
things.
now is because remember a lot of things that we're going to talk about can help people who are listening who have the same issues. And for you and me, I know I'm a music connoisseur. Like it is everything. I breathe music. I love it. And it sounds like you might also be that way as well. Like you understand, like music is your language. So it might be that meditation with music, like you start looking for the right music that gets you, like you said, the ambient music, the new age, the Tibetan, the mantras. Find the thing that really soothes you and brings you back to that energy that you had, that peace. And it might also help if you do it right before bed, the same way you were listening to that music before you go to bed. So like it's not like you're sitting up and like really doing something, but you can lay down and meditate and get into that space. And again, you have it like you and other NDEs, especially the ones that have had positive NDEs or experienced, higher beings like Jesus and other ascended masters, you have a gift. You were given a gift. So you can go while in that meditation, go back and into Jesus, literally into Jesus, and just take in like nothing is done for no reason. Like miles beyond us. He understood that you needed exactly that. And so I think he did that for a reason, to allow you to know that moment, to feel that moment, to have that moment in your bank. Like you literally can go back into that moment now, and it might gradually help to heal you of whatever you need to be healed of, including any kind of disorder or too much thinking or this, that, whatever. It can help you get that peace. And it's all about, like you said, if you're at a point now that you realize that your energy, that you haven't learned to manage your energy. I think that's all of our goals. So it's not like you're like an outlier. I think we all need to
Right.
learn how to manage our energy. So I think that if you can go back, and I don't even know what other people could do. I'm saying it for you because you, like I said, you have that gift where you can go back into that moment inside Jesus, into that peace, into that love, that unconditional love, and it will gradually kind of like take over and meld into your energy until you become that energy.
Uh-huh. Oh,
I'm telling you, I think it's real. Try it. Just please try it and
yeah,
let me
I'm gonna
know.
try it. I can try it. There are some things. I find out there's something called QHHT.
Yes. Yes.
That a friend of mine's trying to
Hypnosis.
get me into that. Trying to see someone, but they live kind of. Well, I live out in the boonies. There's nothing here. You know, the
Hmm.
closest town that has everything is 80 miles away. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
there are reasons why I haven't done it yet. I've been referred to someone who's closer,
Yeah.
who is close enough where I could go see them. I just have to
Yeah.
be able to go see them. Have to, just have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
engineer it. But
Yeah. But I think before that, you have, like I said, you have everything you need within you. Like we all do, but you really, really do. Like you really can just go back to that moment and start healing yourself gradually before you even, to do the hypnotherapy to do even more. So I just think you should try it. I know I would.
yeah,
If I had that, I would be going there every day, going right
yeah,
back into Jesus.
yeah.
All right. And so, okay. And then the way that you left that platform or heaven or whatever that I don't even know what we can call that place, but that place with the building and the house and the
Hmm.
well and the courtyard. A lot of people talk about the river. I think it might even be mentioned in the Bible, but this river that will help you to forget, like to kind of put that veil back on you so you can get back to earth and forget the things that you can't remember. But I've never heard it said the way you said it. Like to the point where I wish if somebody's listening to this and they're an artist and David's okay with it, please, like somebody draw, because like to me it's just so magical. It is just beautiful the way I see it in my mind. You going into this river and then you reach the bottom and the bottom led you to the galaxy, like you were out in space and looking down
Yes,
at earth.
yes,
That is a picture. That is an absolute picture. That is beautiful. um and then when you get, and this is when how people know that you are still yourself. I mean, granted, you start to remember your true self as you stay out in that world longer. But you clearly were staying David, because as soon as you get back to earth, you're like, wait a minute, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. I am so glad that a part of you realized you don't want to get lost. You don't want to get, like you even mentioned it, you don't want to get what did you say? That the ghosts or the lost souls, that they could kind of like influence you. That's what you said, influence.
yes,
That they could
yes.
probably get you to stay out forever.
Right, right, right,
Um,
right. And another thing I think what happens the longer that you're out like that, you forget. You forget things. Like
wow.
basically, like I would have forgot. I would have forgotten where I went. I would have forgotten the whole experience. I would have forgotten everything. I'd have just been stuck like everyone else until a spirit like Bob comes to help me. And
Wow.
see,
You know
that's the
what this
thing. Another
reminds
thing we
me
were
of?
talking about how people get stuck here. Bob and there are spirits that are just like Bob that do the same thing that Bob did. They go rescue people. They'll know who will accept their help. And they'll help them,
Wow.
and then they'll go to the light. They'll take them to the light. No, but
Wow.
they're not going to waste their time on someone who's they're just going to waste their time on.
Yeah.
You don't have time for that.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned this, because people like who might have somebody who passed and they're kind of scared that they might be a lost soul or kind of just hanging around or whatever, drifting. It sounds like our God, our Creator, our Father, Mother in heaven is very everything is kind of accounted for, and it's always help. There's always help. If you ask for it, you really truly desire and look for it, there is always something or someone that's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
help you.
yeah, and that's it. They have to ask. They have to realize they need help. I mean, I didn't get help till I asked.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I love that. Okay. And then of course, and then after that, you just, like so many other NDEs, especially you said this happened in the 70s, like the late 70s.
Yep.
Um, by any chance did you hear about Raymond Moody's book at that time?
No,
Or
no, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't read
oh,
books.
okay. Okay, okay. Because that's the
There was
book
only
that,
libraries.
everybody
There was no internet. There was nothing like that. So kind
yeah.
of
So but as soon as the internet came around, you were like, I'm telling my story. I'm getting this out.
yeah, yeah. Well, people kind of I mentioned it, and it's like AOL Metaphysics chat room. So when I started,
Cool,
1997,
cool.
I
Hmm.
started sharing things about what I believe. right? In the rooms.
Yeah.
So where do you get this stuff? So
Hmm.
thought about
Hmm.
where I got it. I told them where I got it, and everything just gelled into
Wow.
what it is. So
I just imagine how many people are holding on to some of the most amazing NDEs because they were scared to share it. They were scared of, and I mean, it's scared for a good reason. Like if I knew somebody like you that had that experience in the '70s, when I know they were just sending them to the loony bin, I'd have been
yes,
like,
yes, 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 yes.
stay
That's one
quiet.
of the reasons why I shut up. I didn't want to get locked up somewhere because it was a
Yeah,
definite possibility. But
and it,
I didn't even tell my mother. I didn't even tell her. I was afraid to tell her or my
wow,
family. I never did tell
wow,
my mother. She didn't want to. I tried to tell her when I wrote my first book. I tried to tell her about it, and
mm,
and I tried to get her to take a copy of the book and read it. She wouldn't do
yeah,
it. She said, "I don't want to know." It's like,
yeah,
gee,
and
mom, that's like my
yeah,
biggest thing ever, and you don't want to know, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
And that's the thing. I mean, that's why I love that you said that, Gaia is your mother and God is your father. Like people don't like we live a lot of lives and I mean I'm just saying in general, like because I know people who have really tough relationships with parents, mothers, fathers, or no parents at all, like or adopted completely or orphaned completely. So I've heard all types of situations, and I always just tell people that because I truly believe that God is our mother, father, that, we already have a parent, like we're coming here with other souls and they're playing the roles of mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts and all these different grandparents and stuff. But ultimately, we all at a soul level, not to say that we're on the same because we clearly can work to get higher,
right,
but that ultimately our true parent, the one that will love us unconditionally, and this is why in the ears always feel that unconditional love is God, period. Our creator, the creator of all. That's where you'll get the biggest love. And
yep,
that's why you have to create a relationship with that being and keep it going. Like any relationship, it needs to be fed. So every day you should be talking to God. And whether you hear him or not, you're not going to hear him here. It's not for that. It would be very weird if we're all literally talking to God all day. So don't expect an answer, but talk to God. Like it's therapeutic, it's healing, and it helps you to know that you are loved. You can have the worst day, you can have the worst family here for whatever reason. It could be karmatic, or you're burning through karma or something. You could have the worst everything, but you have God. We all have God. That's what you have. That's what we all for sure have is God. Period.
yep,
Nothing. Everything else
yep.
is a question mark. The one thing you definitely have is God. It ain't going anywhere. you know. I love your story.
Well, thank you.
It inspires me so much. And then you have your book and you're like, it's free. Like you are one of the real ones, David. You were one of the real ones. I don't care what you did in Egypt. I don't care what you did in Detroit. Like you said, we all have this moment now and we have the future. And already writing that book was a big blessing, a huge blessing. Go ahead. How
The
do you get the
website
book?
is free. The website
The
is free.
website's free. Okay.
Amazon sells it, obviously, but
Yes, yes,
there's many ways to get the story. You don't have to
yes,
buy the book.
yes.
It's out there. It's been out there. It's going to be out there. So
Yes. And if you want, if you like any donations, so like let's kind of end this. Like I asked all my questions, but that probably took a lot of your
okay.
time. Uh, yes, how can people contact you if you want to be contacted? And then if you're taking donations, do you have like a PayPal? You can give it to me later, and I'll just have that go across as well.
Well, I don't really take donations, but it's something I can think about. I'll definitely think about. Um,
Hmm.
to contact me, best way is dloakford@gmail.com, my email address. That's the
Okay.
best way to contact me. I'm very picky about who I pick for friends now. So,
Yes, we all should be. We all should. So, and the name of your book again, like it's just to remind
Soul
people.
Bared, A Metaphysical Journey.
Yes. And my last question, absolute last question is, what is your message for all of the souls that are on earth right now?
Just love one another. Just love one another. Everything is going to work out the way that it's supposed to. Just love one another. It's simple, but it's still not easy. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, love one another, and all will be well. I mean, that's what I was told to share. So that's what I'm sharing.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, David, for your time. I mean, truly, like the first time I've cried this hard, I don't even understand why, but there was something beautiful here. There's something beautiful in your experience, and I just see sky's the limit for you and your soul. I really do. I just see everything from this point forward just being upward, 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 upward. I
Okay,
really
good,
do.
good.
I feel it. Yeah. So blessings to you, brother, and thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Let me know when it comes out. Shoot me an email.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'll text it to you. All right. Bye
Okay.
bye.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.